Hello and welcome. My name is Joe Lewis and welcome to my newest project, which is called Let's Tell the Truth. Now on this show, we will be definitely, first of all, telling the truth. We'll be taking a look at the political turmoil which our country has been in since the election of former President Trump. We'll be taking a look at the 90 so indictments in which he's facing right now. We will also be taking a look at his supporters, the MAGA supporters, these individuals who have this dying devotion to President Trump, despite the fact that the man is looking at over 90 indictments. We will also be taking a close look at what some people is considering a phenomenon, which is the movement called Blacks for Trump. We'll also be looking at black conservatism and the leaders of individuals who is promoting and leading this sort of movement of Blacks for Trump. We will be looking at and trying to understand what would make a African American, a black person, want to become a Republican. What is the appeal for them to make this move? Now, these individuals that we're going to be taking a close look at are, we have Larry Eldridge, Judge Joe Brown, Candace Owens, and a host of others who are out there pushing this narrative of Blacks for Trump. And we're going to take a very good look, close look, at all these videos. And when we take a look at them, my goal is to be fair. Take a look at these videos, and anywhere that we see that these individuals are telling the truth, I will let you know that they're telling the truth, even presenting evidence to show that what they're saying is true. But when they're saying something that is false, I'm going to let you know that's false. When they're giving you information that is partial information, meaning I'm telling you part of the truth, but not everything that is the truth, I'm going to let you know that as well. That, yes, that part is the truth, but what they're leaving out is X, Y, or Z. Okay? So, here's what I plan on doing first. Before we dive into these videos, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be the first one to tell the truth on this show, because that's the name of the show. I, for the life of me, can't wrap my mind around why somebody would want to be a Republican. Because being a Republican for African Americans or black people in this country is not nothing new. We have been Republicans for quite some time. Okay? Look, from 1870, after the signing of the 15th Amendment, to 1936, in this country, blacks voted Republican. And when you look at that time frame, some of the worst things imaginable happened to us as citizens in this country. Some of the worst things happened to us. Okay? Now, let's go through the list of those things. And this is why I am so confused about why these individuals are so motivated to want to become Republican. Here we have two black men being lynched when we were voting Republican. Here's a black woman lynched early 1900s when we were voting Republican. Here's a black child chain gang. Picture took it in 1910. We were voting Republican. Here is Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of many riots. One of many riots that took place, and this was 1922. We were voting Republican. They burned it to the ground. White people. Here is a freedmen's school where colored kids went, late 1800s, burnt to the ground by white racists when we were Republican. Here are the various riots from the early 1900s to 1960 that took place in America. Race riots, and we were voting, 90% of them was when we were voting Republican. So this is why I can't understand for the life of me, why would a black person decide to vote Republican? All this stuff was happening to us. Republicans never reached out to help us. They never presented any civil rights legislation for black people, voters' rights legislation for black people that would curve this sort of behavior from white America in this country. And this is why I'm confused. You want me to join a party, excuse me, you want me to join a party that in the past have never helped us during the most racist, most intense racist times in this country. And what makes this so crazy, it wasn't like we were not going to these Republican administrations, letting them know the situation that was going on with blacks in America and appealing to them for help. Now, the reason why I use the date from 1870 to 1936 is because blacks voted faithfully for Republicans, but had made a full swing over to the Democratic Party by 1936. Now, the reason why this happened is because the Roosevelt administration, through his wife Eleanor Roosevelt, always considered reaching out to the black population in this country. One of her first moves to demonstrate her sincerity in this was to have the first black sing at the presidential inaugural. And that was a woman by the name of Marian Anderson. Now, this raised the eyebrows of a lot of black leaders in this country, to where a dialogue opened up between the Roosevelt administration and blacks in America. This Democratic administration, up under their them presiding over the White House and in Congress, is where we got the Tuskegee Airmen, the first black pilot squad that fought in World War II. They would paint the tails on their planes red so that they would stand out. This was done under a Democratic administration, not a Republican one. Also, once President Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed away in office, his vice president took over, which was Harry Truman. Harry Truman is known for integrating the United States military. Once again, something done under a Democratic administration. Now, once the Democratic administration left office under President Harry S. Truman, we elected Dwight Eisenhower to office, a Republican. During that period, there was a slow migration, but a steady migration of black voters back to the Republican Party. And they continued to vote Republican. Some still was Democrat, but they began to vote Republican again. And then we've got, after Dwight Eisenhower, we got John F. Kennedy in office. John F. Kennedy came into office during a time in which the civil rights movement was really moving into full swing. And he witnessed what happened in Birmingham, Alabama, which was May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 1963. The famous photos, the famous newsreels that you see, where you see blacks being beaten by police, having dogs sicked on them, children being sprayed by powerful water hoses, and everybody being jailed. He witnessed this. He saw whites being extremely violent and the blacks not fighting back at all. This sort of embarrassed him. And he felt, how could we look at ourselves as a country promoting freedom for all people, and we're doing this to our citizens? And that's when he gave that famous speech that America's the land of the free and the home of the brave, oh yeah, except for Negroes. You know, you have the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, oh yeah, except for Negroes. This is where he made this famous speech and vowed to move forward with civil rights legislation in America. Kennedy did not live to see this civil rights legislation come to be. And there was a lot of fears that if he moved forward with this, that he would lose the South as far as winning the presidential election. That there was no way that white Southerners, who of course were Democrats, would vote for a president who was going to put forward civil rights legislation like this. But like I said, Kennedy did not live to see this happen. Of course, he was assassinated, I believe November 21st, 1963. He was assassinated and didn't have a chance to fulfill his dream of pushing forward this civil rights legislation. But once again, you have a Democratic administration, racist as it was, trying to reach out to black leadership, working with him to try to advance some of the rights and freedoms that blacks were being denied in this country. Once he died, Lyndon Baines Johnson, his vice president, was now president, and Lyndon Baines Johnson vowed to move forward with putting in civil rights legislation in this country. And that was not an easy thing to do for Lyndon. That was very difficult, but Lyndon, being the savvy individual that he was, as far as a politician, he was a congressman. He went from congressman to a senator. Lyndon Baines Johnson knew the congressional body. He knew how to work it. He knew how to get the votes. He knew who he needed to put pressure on and what type of pressure needed to be put on them in order to get things done. And he was determined to make sure that this civil rights legislation was put through. Now, before Lyndon Johnson could even run for re-election, because he had never been voted in as president. Remember, he stepped in after President Kennedy was assassinated. He was told as well, yo, you're going to lose the South. If you're serious about putting through this civil rights legislation, you could kiss the South goodbye. Nobody in the South is going to vote Democrat. And this was true. Lyndon Baines Johnson ran for re-election. He won in one of what I would say, or historians would say, was the greatest landslide victory ever for a presidential candidate. But he did lose the South. Let's take a look at the map here. And I'm going to show you where the South voted Republican and not Democrat. And these, let's tell the truth, these were some of the most hardcore racists in the Democratic Party that wanted to now vote Republican because of civil rights legislation being proposed and put through by Lyndon Baines Johnson. But this actually happened before the civil rights legislation was put through. He was running for re-election. So I'm going to show you the map right now so you can see what I'm talking about. These are the states that Lyndon Baines Johnson lost running for re-election. All these states, 10, 7, all these states that you see that are in red, he lost. These were hardcore racists who voted Republican. Why? Because they knew that the passing of the Civil Rights Act would put them under a political tent with people that they didn't like. They didn't like black people. They didn't care for black people. So they said, well, if that's what you're going to do, we're going to vote Republican. And once they started voting Republican, they expected their Republican candidates that they put in office to stand steady on their idea of what race relations should be in America. Now, these hardcore racist individuals who lived in America at that time and were voters, that migration towards the Republican Party didn't stop there. Because the very next year, Martin Luther King put pressure on Lyndon Baines Johnson to push through the Voters' Rights Act of 1965. So you had the Civil Rights Act of 1964, turned off racist individuals who were Democrats in this country, started forcing them to vote Republican, because like I said, they did not want to be up under a tent with individuals that they didn't like, which was blacks, because they knew black people would now start voting Democrat. The very next year, they put through the Voters' Rights Act of 1965. Because of that really, anybody who was racist in this country, that made them move fully towards the Republican Party. And they took it over. By 1970, all of the most hardcore racist voters, individuals in this country, were now voting Republican. And like I said, they took that party over. And that party is that way to this day because of that. I mean, let's be for real. If you want to be, if you are a white supremacist, a 3%er, which is a white malicious military group, if you want to be, if you are a Oath Keeper, another white militia group, if you are a Proud Boy, another white militia group, if you are a Ku Klux Klan member, the oldest white militia group in this country, if you want to join a political party, the Republican Party is the party for you. Why? Because at the core of that party are people who believe, think, and feel the same way you do. Ain't none of these people going to join the Democratic Party. They're going to join the Republican Party. So I don't understand how individuals like Candace Owens could come to me and promote me moving to the Republican Party when you asking me to be up under a tent with people who don't like me, with people who would like to see me dead. I don't understand how Larry Elder, another conservative journalist, radio host, how could you come to me and really sit in my face and tell me go to the Republican Party? Forget the Democratic Party. Okay? And start voting Republican. When you know good and well you are sharing that tent with people, if they had their way, you would be hanging from a tree. Candace Owens would be gang raped. Okay? Seriously. These are not understatements that I'm making. It doesn't make any sense to me how you could ask me to join this party and leave the Democratic Party. Now, is the Democratic Party perfect? No. Do they have a lot to give an account of? Hell yes. For real, yes. In putting policy out there that hurt Black America, yes. But you've got to admit that if it wasn't for the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voter Rights Act of 1965, we would not be living in the America that we live in today. Why? Because those legislations, landmark legislations, made the behavior open behavior of racism in all of its aspects illegal. Can't tell me I can't come in this place no more because of the color of my skin. You can't tell me I gotta sit at the back of the bus anymore. You can't tell me that as a patriot wanting to come to a restaurant and eat that you don't serve black people or niggers in your establishment. You can't tell me I can't go to this school or that school because of the color of my skin. It made the actions of everyday racism now illegal. Did it change everything immediately? No. But because of this legislation, as new generations were being born into this country as citizens, they saw a different America, which made racism more and more less tolerable in this country. This is why I cannot, for the life of me, understand why would you tell me to vote Republican when Republicans from the beginning never did a damn thing to help us, and we were voting for them. We were voting for them, and now I've shown you the map. These individuals, these racist voters begin to vote Republican now, and they've taken over that party. At the core, the Republican Party is racist. There's just no way of getting around it. They're the children of the individuals who are angry because they lost that civil war against the North. Those racist Democrats who went Republican before the passing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act that I showed you on that map were the children's children of these individuals who got their butts kicked. Talking about it gonna be a civil war, we're gonna secede from the nation, and they got their behinds whooped for that. So why again are you guys voting Republican? Well, to this day, the Republicans have constantly fell short of doing anything to advance the positive lifestyle of black people in this country. This is why we're going to take a close look at these videos, and this is why I made this video, because I wanted some ground rule understanding when I dissect the videos that we're about to look at. We're about to look at these Republican conservatives. We're going to key in on the basic talking points that they make. And I'm going to show you the hypocritical thinking of these individuals. Telling half-truths, not telling the whole story. Admitting certain things that if you really listen to what they're saying, a smart person could easily flip that sort of logic and talking points right on his head. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys. So I need you to be looking out for my shows. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put the link to get to my channel on YouTube, so you could please like and subscribe to these videos, and please share them, because after this video, now we're gonna get the work done. I'm gonna be pulling these videos, letting you guys watch them, listen to what these conservatives are saying, listen to the basic routine talking points that they use, and show you how easily it is to flip these talking points on their heads. Period. That's what's about to take place. So please like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that every time that a video is uploaded, you could get that video and be able to watch it. And most importantly, comment. That's the most important thing. comment on the videos, because I'm going to be reading the comments too. The comments that you make. Comment, please. That's what's important to me. I would love to hear you guys' input on this video and future videos. Once again, my name is Joe Lewis. I'm your host. This is my newest project, Let's Tell the Truth, and we gon' tell the truth. Every video that I'm about to dissect, we gonna tell the truth with facts to back it up. Okay? So peace. I love y'all. And until we meet again, the next video, take care of yourself.